Hi everybody, this is a video to talk a little bit about how to pace a 2K row. You've made it to this video because either on my YouTube channel or you've bought a training plan off me, or we're working together on an individualized basis. So wherever you came from, welcome to the video. This is a pretty standard plan that I coach in order to help the athletes that I work with maximize their performance on a 2K row. I would like to kind of acknowledge and credit some of my coaches, Rodney Pratt and Pete Shepard, and also for a brief period Zeno Muller, who I worked with for a short period of time. This is really amalgamation of those coaches, and I'm fortunate in the sense that I teach because I was taught. So this is a pretty good plan, and so I'm going to talk you through it here step by step. So let's say, for example, that you want to row a 2K in 8 minutes. All right, so what that means is a 500 meter pace of 2-minute splits for the whole piece. So that's going to be your average split for the whole piece. Okay, so let's just, for argument's sake, say that you're trying to break 8 minutes on the 2K row. Now, if you have a different pace in mind, so for example, you want to break 7 minutes. So for example, if you wanted to break 7 minutes, then you need a 500 meter split of 1:45 or better. Okay, so if that was a 2K at 7 minutes. So to give you some rough ideas. So for this video, what I'm going to do is basically figure on the 8 minute time here, rather than the 7 minute time. But the bottom line is you need to work out what time you want and what your average split is going to be for that piece. And there's 4 500 meters sections in a 2K. They add up to 2K. So trying to figure out first and foremost what your 2K split is for those things. So for today in the video, I'm going to say it's a 2-minute split. So the way that I would approach that is, if you're trying to aim for a 2-minute split, that is what we would call your target split for a 2K row. Okay, so keep that number in mind hypothetically. So the way that I would approach this is for your first. Let's see here. So for your first 20 strokes of your piece, right, which is right here, you can go for it. You can sprint, go off hard, and do whatever you want there for the first 15 to 20 strokes. What is really important, though, is that when you hit that 20th stroke, which is usually about 30 to 40 seconds into the piece, you must settle into your typical cruising pace. Okay, and so if you don't do that, and I've been in a ton of races before where I've been racing against other masters in these 2K races, and a lot of people don't make that shift in energy systems with 20 strokes on. They feel good, they sort of get carried away with the racing and start to row a split much faster than they're really capable of doing. And what happens there is you basically end up kind of setting yourself up for a lot of trouble once you hit this second half of the piece, right? You don't want to build up too much lactic acid or lactate early on in the piece. You want to make sure that you're clearing it effectively. It's going to be building throughout the piece, but we don't want too much. So making sure that you settle here is really important. So for hypothetically speaking, if we wanted to row 8 minutes and a 2-minute split, what we would need to do is row the next portion of the 2K at a target split +1 or +2. And you can be kind of clicking in between those two things. So this person rowing a 2-minute target split for the whole piece is going to shift into a 201, a 202 split. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. So at this point here, we want a 201 or a 202 split, but I'm going to write 201. And we're gonna row that. So what's happening is when we shift here, we want to come out for length, we want to come out for poise, we want to come out for control. And the goal here is to row through to 1100 meters at that 201 split or 202, 201, 202 split. And that's pacing things out. That's not trying to get too much hay in the barn over the first half of your piece. Okay, so it's possible you might want to do a power 10 in here. Usually when you hit 700, 750, you could do a power 10 in here, but that power 10 should be really just kind of keeping the rhythm fresh, not trying to do anything too crazy like row 150s for 10 strokes. Okay, the bursts really should be there to bring you back up to that level if things start to get a bit stale and lose a bit of sharpness at the front end of the stroke, and that's the important thing about that. Now, once we get to 1100, then the goal here is to shift into our target split. So at this point of the piece, we want to be rowing a 2-minute split once we hit 1100 to go, and we're going to hold that split from here all the way to 1600. Okay, so from here to 1600, so from 1100 meters to 1600 meters, you want to hold that target split at 2 minutes. Okay, and you're going to have to fight for it at this point, right? 900 meters to go. You're just over, in this case, if we're rowing an 8-minute 2K, you're just over halfway, around about 420, something like that. And so this is really where you're going to make or break whether or not you're going to get a PB or hit your target split, okay? And so, you're going to have to start fighting there. But if you have played the first 1100 meters right and shifted with 20 strokes into your piece and rode your 201 and been disciplined about that, even if it felt a little bit easy on race day, you're in good shape here to get your PB. And so from 1100 meters gone to 1600 meters gone, you are going to basically try and hit that target split. And for this that target split is going to be it's going to be your 2-minute split right here. All right. Now, once you hit 1600, okay, it's time to empty the tank, right? And at this point, if you've made it to this point and things are under control, you're gonna take your 2-minute split and you're gonna start to drop that split down as much as you can. And so you've got about 40 strokes here. So what you could do is take 10 strokes, take a couple of seconds off of it, take another 10 strokes, take another couple of seconds off of it, and then in this last 20, you're basically looking about 40 seconds to go. Empty the tank, right? Make sure that you're sitting up and really firing the legs and driving the back and the arms through. Good acceleration. All right, and I would if you need to shorten up a little bit to bring the rate up, that's fine, but make sure that you're actually doing something. Make sure that you're actually putting more work into that wheel, right? Sometimes the rate can go up, but you actually not go anywhere because you're not really actually putting more energy into the wheel. You're just kind of jacking the rate up and trying to hope that is going to make you go faster. You've got to do it with the power. And the harder you row through your stroke, then the quicker your stroke speed is, and therefore the easier it is to get to the next stroke and get the rate up. But really, in this last block here where we're emptying the tank, it is all about power. Okay, you might shorten up a little bit, but make sure that you have got the power on in that last 400. And really it's 40 strokes, right? So you could count them in your head. You've got the 2 10 strokes, count down 10 down to 1, 10 down to 1, and then with 20 seconds to go, you want to just look straight forward and absolutely everything you've got into that machine and finish off. At that point, you're there, and that's going to be the difference. Now, if you execute that race plan that I've just discussed in the last 11 minutes, you should hit very close to, if not right on, your target split for that race. So that would be the sensible way of rowing a 2K row. Again, it's a start in 20, shift to cruise rate, after 20 strokes, row that target split plus 1 second through to 1100, from 1100 to 1600, then drop it to your target split, and then for the final 400, you're there. It's like a minute something or other at that point, and it's just a question of keep staying long, keeping the power on, and emptying the tank. And once you've made it to that point, that's just, you're there, and hopefully you've got yourself a nice personal best. So this is my 2 cents on how you might row a 2K. I know there's lots of videos out there, but this is my take on it. Take it or leave it, and I wish you the best with your indoor rowing and your performance. And if I can help with a training plan or some coaching or some video analysis or some technical review, please feel free to reach out to me at neil@coachbergenroth.com or visit the site coachbergenroth.com for more tips and tricks for rowing. And I wish you the best in your rowing journey, and thank you for watching.